G'day, Doggies fans. All Things Bulldogs, episode 13, 5 from 5, and we've got something a bit different tonight for the bye. We've gone on a bit later, and welcome to Brad.
How you doing?
Hey, Brad. Mark.
G'day, Bulldogs fans and others.
And Pete Noonan.
Hey, Doggies fans.
Former St. Greg's boy, Pete Noonan. Blue Brad. What is it?
It's a Bulldogs, old Bulldogs rain jacket with the old J
Where's
card.
your hat? Where's your hat, mate?
No, my hat. Yeah, my head looks like a pimple on a pumpkin with it on, so I just pissed it off.
Well, that's me. My head's the size of bloody 3 heads, mate. I fit in with Queensland really well. We'll wait for a few people to jump on. I had more time, but didn't advertise as much as usual. So there you go. So tonight, everyone, we're going to talk about our success, obviously. Jamin Salmon's just been re-signed for an extra 2 years. We're going to talk about, how we make some rabbit stew in a week, because we're going to look forward to it. We can't wait. This weekend's going to be tough. I think New South Wales Cup have got the bye as well, which sucks. Yeah, we'll do our quiz, the Bark of Knowledge. So 10 questions, and we're going to see which one of these 3 lads is going to come out on top, and you can play along at home. And there might be some prizes, probably not, but who knows? I've got some stuff laying around. But this quiz will be really good, and the answers are surprising in many ways. Very tough quiz, all multiple choice. And questions provided by one of our good mates, D, who's been on plenty of times. And that's what I need to do. So let me know if you're on, guys. Come say hello so we can get things cranking. I think we've got how many people are watching? 5. That's the 5 of us here. Nah, it's not. I noticed the kennel aren't on tonight.
I've stopped watching them. I've stopped
G'day,
watching
James,
them.
welcome.
James, welcome, mate.
So talk about it, you guys. I'm just going to share it around a little bit, get some people on here, get them watching, get them involved. I normally send about 100 messages. Drive a few people crazy, I'm sure. But what have you been thinking about the start of the season, Brad? Tell me.
I've been loving it. Any time we win is a good ducky. But yeah, just the way we're doing it. Like we've pulled ourselves through games like against Parramatta. We took it so easily on them. And then to come out against the Shark and just blitz them. And then same coaching tactics against Newey on the weekend.
We certainly did, mate. The variation has been there. I will talk about it in some depth and I'll get you guys to elaborate, but I honestly feel that on the weekend we sort of knew that we went there with a whole artillery. We had at home at a core, multicultural. Last game before the bye, everything to play for. I reckon we had, all our weapons, everything there ready to go if we needed it. After 2 minutes, the Knights lost two important players when it comes down to it, your winger and your first hit-up man, which is your senior player, Jacob Saifidi. We just said, I think the coaches said, don't use anything we don't need to use. Go out there, work hard, make them tackle all day, go side to side, make them tackle. You're going to win. You could win this fight with your fists. You don't need a knife. You don't need your gun. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
I think they did a similar thing with Parramatta because just the tactics in each game were so varied. One game we kicked to the left the entire match, their right-hand winger.
Mm-hmm.
This game we kicked to their left-hand winger the whole game.
Yeah.
sometimes they shared the kicking, other times it was just one half doing all the kicking. Marnie kicking some games, not kicking others. And I don't think we've seen close to
just also like the variation in the tries we scored against the Sharks, like the scrum setups and all that. They were so good, so amazing. You didn't see that against Newcastle because Newcastle didn't throw anything at us. So why exert that energy?
What's your thoughts, Mark?
Mate, I think we've been quite outstanding defensively in the opening 5 rounds. And that shutout against Newcastle was exceptionally good. But I think we're still a bit clunky in attack. Against the Knights, we were a bit sideways, I thought, in that first half, and running towards the sideline. I think Crichton went out on the right and Cherry went out on the left at one stage. But obviously, when we straightened it up in the second half, that's when the points come. But defensively, I think we've nailed it. I just the attack just a little bit more fluent, shall I say?
Yeah, well, I can't really disagree. Look, our defence, and I always go back to the Penrith stuff because it's evolved from there, a lot of it. You know, you see a system work, you implement it to adapt to the Bulldogs, and they've never worried about attack at the start of a season, ever. It's always been defence, and they've sort of been vulnerable. Like if you've been able to score a couple of tries, 2 or 3 tries, you could win the match. But yeah, that's gone out the window of them this year. They're like one of the highest scoring teams, but I think they're the second worst defence in the comp. Penrith. We're number 1 by a long way, and I think we're 4th in attack. So for a side that I think there's definitely been method to some of the madness. Like I can't deny they went sideways a couple of times too often. There wasn't much passing to the wingers. But I don't know, it just seemed like one of those days at the core where you couldn't go around the teams. You had to go through them. But right in this second half, which I was actually surprised they didn't bring Blake Taff on because I thought he would have had a field day through the middle in that game.
Yes.
Yeah, Marnie could have come off for 10, 15 minutes and let Blake Taff go into dummy half and carve him up. I agree with that. Yeah. And having 3 minutes, it's almost embarrassing a little bit for him. You know what I mean? I'll sit there for 77 minutes. It's sort of embarrassing. I remember one of our coaches, my mate, who's sitting in the box right now, never even got an Origin. And I remember how embarrassed he was from that, telling me about that. Like, it was horrible, sitting on the sideline.
Was that Kenny McGuinness?
Why'd they even fucking pick me, you know what I mean? What's the point?
Yeah.
Was that Kenny McGuinness?
Hey?
Was that when Tommy O'Donoghue
Taylor got picked in Origin and never got on the field.
Yeah.
He left him on the sideline for 80 minutes.
G'day, Peter.
Hey, what Matty Burton, 18th man. Yeah. Origin after Origin after Origin.
Professional in year, Berto.
Yeah.
He might be 18th man again this year.
Hope not. We need him in our team.
Daly's going to pick Cleary and Moses if they're both available. He's their pick. Simple as. Burton won't get a shot. Pete, what's your thoughts on the season so far, quickly?
I'm just looking at it a totally different way. I like what Brad and Mark and you guys have, the three of you, been saying. I really like, because it's sort of, everyone would say that. I'm looking at the completely different picture because I'm in a really big, expensive tip comp. So I watch all the games and I watch all the efforts and I watch our team and I go down there. You've heard that statement, the NTRs, the no talent required part of the game was in all our players. You don't take any talent to do what we're doing at the moment. And you look, I don't know if you watched the South game. It was embarrassing, their kick chase. Embarrassing. Really bad. They were jogging to the game and they were all splintered and they were all over the place. And then I watched our game and I watched the game against the Sharks. Our kick chase is the best. I don't think I've ever seen a better kick chase in my life ever in history of rugby league. And all that, so that's not, you don't need talent for that. And all those little things like no talent required, that our team is full of that, of effort plays, of having a go. Just when Newcastle had that winger scoring in the corner, he's going to score. Any other team, he scores. We had 6 players in around that fucking ball. It was unbelievable. Yeah. You don't need talent to be there. You just need desire and heart and fitness. We're the fittest team. We're the fittest team.
You need fitness and you need belief in the system, and the belief in the system doesn't just come from the coach telling it. You've got to have players within the system that can tell the young guys, like, this just didn't work today. But if we keep doing it, stick with this coach. You keep doing that, it will turn and you'll see the results. And I think we've seen that evolve over a couple of years. I went back and watched some of those 2000. I went back and watched the Bulldogs versus Melbourne match in 2023, where we ambushed them down there. And they had a few players out, and I went, the blooms were already there, you know. Then I watched the Tigers game the week later, where we was just dominating them all over the park at Belmore.
It was a really hot day that day.
And we had a fresh man on the bench that in Ockenballer, and he didn't use him, and we needed him out there because we were dying out there, and he left. And he left them. He let them die out there. He said, "No, I need these guys to play 80 minutes, win or lose. I don't care.
Yeah,
this is
the place who Serrato trusts.
Who can do it and who can't."
Yeah, he wanted to see and anyone who didn't handle it, you get washed out, don't you? Like you're getting washed out now. If you can't handle it, you heard about Brayford Astor on 360 talking about Carden and Billy Johnson.
Yeah.
And you went home to mum and dad and you whinged and you go back. They washed you out of the club. And that's what Serrato is sort of doing now. He's just washing you out. Jacko said to me today, what did he say to me? He said, we had, what was our 21? Our 21 there's not one player left from 21.
No,
they're all being washed out. 30 players have been washed out. No, mate of mine, who rang me. He talked about the Dogs and he goes, I mean, I can't believe how many players you've lost, and you've got all these players and they've all fit in pretty well. I said, yeah, but Serrato's done a good job, and Gus has washed all the deadwood out, got rid of them. And if you don't fit the mold, fuck off.
Basically, things that Gus was saying when he came to the club, it was inevitable that was going to happen. And even players we wanted to keep, and players that Serrato fell in love with just by coming and coaching them, Gus was like, nah, they're not staying, you know what I mean? I have it on very good authority that
who was that, Nick?
Jake Avarillo was like the coach was desperate to keep him at the club, and he was very unhappy about Alamotti leaving as well, even though there was some managerial stuff there. But it just comes down to cap and future legacy and future. If they make one exception for what they're trying to build, it just brings it all down. It'll bring it all down. It's the same reason why. And it doesn't take Gus to implement it. There's people at Penrith now who are implementing the same thing. It's the reason Stephen Crichton is at the Bulldogs. It's the reason Kikau's at the Bulldogs. It's, they weren't happy about Matt Burton because we genuinely poached him from them. But they wanted to keep Matt. But, yeah, everyone else has just Jerome Luai, the lot. They've just the system. They cannot make an exception for anyone unless they're going to be the best player in their position.
Do you reckon there's been a bit of people power, player power, that the DCE decision, they've just gone completely away from him? Like that he's going to come in. We could potentially win the comp with him, right? And he could change the club dramatically because he's a gun. But do you think the player power, and they're thinking we don't want to mess something up that's really good at the moment, potentially something like that?
Well, what do you guys think about that first? I'll let you go, Mark.
Mate, I thought that would be a horrendous decision, Pete. I'm afraid that would be a greater disruption to our club than could ever possibly fathom. Got the young blokes coming through. Toby Sexton's doing an outstanding job. I don't think DCU will add all that much value to our system, and that's what we are. The Bulldogs are just a system, next man up. So I don't think he would have improved our side in any way, shape or form. And why would you play a 36-year-old bloke $1 million 2 years and hold Cassius Tier and Joey O'Neill and Mitchell Woods and these blokes back? No, that would have been totally wrong in my opinion.
What do you reckon, Brad?
Team first mentality. And by all reports that DCE doesn't like training, so he's not going to fit in at the Doggies. We train our ass off and we're fit.
Well, there you go.
I've got a caveat to that.
That's the first here on All Things Bulldogs.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Brad, to be honest, because I
listen to the Levels Network, and the horror said to the boys that DCE doesn't like training.
Oh.
And then Mason's he's not a Bulldog then.
Bit hard when you're a captain.
Yeah.
When your captain don't want to train,
that's right.
Terry Lamb and he can't play.
They pulled back on Cameron Smith's training as he got older. Like he went and did all the camps and stuff like that when he was younger and in his mid-20s and late 20s and even early 30s. But by the time he got to 35, 36, 37, he wasn't doing the camps or nothing. He was only just doing what he could do, to keep himself match fit. Baba didn't say. You know about Baba. Baba didn't do hardly any training at the end. But my take on the DCE thing is if you watch Sexton tackle on the weekend, DCE doesn't tackle like that. No. Fucking Sexton smashed second rowers coming flying through that hole. And he absolutely leveled off and just pumped these guys. And I go, he wouldn't have done that last year, Mick? He wouldn't have done that last year. He's
not in the first 10 rounds, no. But you go back and watch Sexton's first game in Bulldogs colours last year. His defence was on point, and it just got better and better and better and better. And pretty much we've won the majority of games we've played since he's come into the team, right? We're at about.
He's learned to tackle at the Dogs, or he had that in his kit bag. He just hadn't learned systems that are good systems to learn on. Okay, if the shoulder's going left and don't push out, blah blah. Don't make any mistakes.
You can't play NRL. You can't play NRL now unless you can tackle. But being able to tackle for 80 minutes with big men running at you under fatigue takes only the best of the best. And that's why he was in New South Wales Cup. And I watched all those games in New South Wales Cup, and Toby struggled early. They all did on his edge. And this year, Toby's had some read issues. Like he's been sucked in a couple of times. And not just him, Preston as well hasn't pushed. Like people don't want to hear this stuff and don't look at it. But when you watch it and take it back, I can tell you now the videos have been done at the club, and they know what every person's got to work on. All our tries have come down the right edge. We've conceded one on the left, right? But as far as Toby smashing second rowers and dominating the other five, like the left-hand half on his side, he's been winning the defensive battle week in, week out. He's won it. Like I was thinking, and the other side of the coin was Burton evolved in that way last year, and this year at the start of the year looked like he was a defensive beast as well. So if your halves are knocking down the opposition second rowers, you're in for a pretty good fucking day defensively. But Toby would not have made those tackles that Drew made in the first 10 rounds last year.
No, he wouldn't have.
And he credited him. He's actually, and he credited in today's article, credited Drew Hutchison again and the young fellas.
Yeah.
And the Halves Academy as a whole.
I remember telling you last year at the start of that season when Drew Hutchison nailed Cleese Haas 2 metres out from the line and drove him 5 metres back on his own, by the way. And I said that's the reason why he's in the team. And Sexton's, I was pissed. God, I was angry. Why are they playing a better half? But then they saw that tackle and I went, that changed my mind, you know what I mean? Because Toby couldn't have done that then. Probably might be able to do it. He might be able to do it now. But.
Drew come to our club to be an experienced a player who come through as the Australian schoolboys half, who've been in good systems, been used in many positions. He's just a jack of all trades. He's likely not to be playing first grade unless they give him a game because we've got, everything wrapped up and they want to give someone a rest, getting way ahead of myself. That's it. Or there's a heap of injuries and we just have to play him. It's the only way he's playing. But his value to the club, and this is what I keep saying to people, like they bring a player like Tom Amone to the club who started in New South Wales Cup for the first time this year, played 20 minutes. It was definitely his best 20 minutes of the season. Come on again in the second half. We looked a lot better when Amone and Underhill were out there. But what I'm saying is Amone is, from all reports, is really, really fitter than he's hitting markers he's never hit on a fitness-wise, but his pathway's blocked to first grade. So that's why his manager's like, well, there's an opportunity for him to make more money and play competitive first grade in Super League, so they're investigating that. But him coming to the club, do you think Harry Hayes and Lipoi Hopoi and Jack Todd and Underhill and Bailey Hayward and everyone else, do you think that they said, oh, shit, Amone's coming, he's killing it in Super League, that's someone in front of us? Because that's what a lot of fans felt, right? They're like, oh, this Amone's going to jump ahead of some of these kids. But so what do those kids do, everyone?
They lifted.
They worked their fucking asses off and didn't give him a chance. And that's why every signing is so important.
Well, that's exactly what Mick
They're going
Potter
to get
told
some
me.
wrong as well, too. They're not perfect. They're going to get some wrong as well.
Well, that's exactly what Mick Potter told me. He said exactly those words. He said Underhill. Who? What's that? About Todd and Underhill.
Yeah.
In particular. He didn't mention any other names, but he said those two. He said those two are on the fast track. And they've gone past our Polynesian brothers. But they've put Saluka Fafita in, so he didn't get that one right, really. But
well, I think whoever told you that, if he uses the word Polynesian brothers, he's probably. I'm not diminishing anything, but this is just my opinion. When I hear something like that, what I hear is someone who doesn't have all the facts, because it's got nothing to do whether he's Polynesian, white, or fucking Italian or lesbian. It doesn't matter what he is. They have outplayed they've gone ahead of players that are there that are bigger and stronger than them potentially and more seasoned. They've jumped them or are about to jump them. And I've heard comments like that on Facebook groups a few times too, Pete, and it does shit me a little bit. But that's all right.
He's really high on Underhill, Todd, and obviously he just said that they outwork him. They outwork him at training. Underhill's one of those players. Underhill's one of those players who plays like he trains. He smashes you on the training paddock.
Yeah.
Tries to hurt you.
100%.
Yeah.
I just want to finish that off, though. Underhill has a massive engine, and that is what will get him fast-tracked, his engine. Lipoi Hopoi has a bigger engine than Jack Todd. And that's a fact. That's from everything that's come through. He plays longer minutes. They've got him playing on the edge as well. He played 80 minutes on the edge in the first two games in Cup. And he struggles there, like defensively, struggles with the lateral stuff. And Todd also struggles with the lateral stuff. But Todd is that's someone they're going to, at the moment, does he keep building into that, great footwork prop who's currently at about 106 kilos and might edge up to about 108, 109? Or does he slim down a little bit and become more like that lock that's able to do that lateral stuff when need be, but get that line speed up and get around those legs and get that drive going. Like, he is someone with all the skills and ability, but his engine isn't as big, which is why Max King, plus we're running downhill, which helped, but they were always going to try and get 25, hopefully 30 minutes out of Max. And Jack was going to come on to replace Max like Satilli does. But when Satilli's in the team, Max doesn't need to play 30 minutes. He can play 25. Satilli can play the next 30. And then Max comes on at the end. So Max ended up playing 62 minutes. Todd played 20. And that's what they wanted. And he actually did some pretty good stuff defensively in that first half towards the end of it. And he also, that try he got was just vintage. Jacob Preston set that up with a fast play, the ball off a great run. The Knights were in disarray. Thompson come in to marker to throw Ponga, to get Ponga to get back in the line. He probably should have just stayed in the line and left Ponga there. And then they all just watched Todd just run straight past him. With that leg speed and drive. Like, he's a special player, and I think you also get a little link into, if you listen to Phil Gould talk about Origin, it's like you go pick the team that you want 13 players that can play 80 minutes on your team, and you'll beat everyone 95% of the time if you can pick those players that can do that. And I think that's a basis for our club as well. And from what I'm seeing, they look past the big boppers that can come on and look great with the ball for 20 minutes, who then can't get back because they're running out of puff. They'd rather have a Satilli Tupanua, a Harry Hayes, and a Josh Curran, who are all 101 kilos and about 6'1", who can all play 45 minutes in the middle if they need be straight. And then if you need them on an edge to cover, they can play 80 minutes on an edge. That's what they would prefer. And that's what's deciding the pecking order at the moment in who plays and who doesn't. Plus, you want a big guys there, obviously, to absorb that punishment at the start of the game, which DSF's been doing a real good job of. So there you go. What are we going to talk about now, guys? Let's get to some comments. Pete said, congrats to Jamin Salmon on resigning. On his re-signing. He's an unnoticed warrior. What's your thoughts on Salmon? Mark.
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me. I wouldn't have put it as a priority signing. I mean, I would call that a loyalty signing. Certainly he deserves it. We just haven't got anyone like him coming through behind to push him out at this stage. But maybe Jack Todd does that in the future. But he's not ready now, I don't think. And he does the tough stuff. So yeah, I'm happy that he's re-signed. I think Sorello will try and keep that team together for maybe a year or two yet. So I expect the signing of Blake Taff and Toby Sexton, to be shortly, I would think. But congratulations to the Fish. Good to have them around and teach these young blokes how it's done.
Well, before I go to Brad and to Pete, I was just talking about, I know if you're doing any management and any work, you build relationships with some of your experienced people that you're around you for longer. And obviously they had that organic relationship through Penrith. And then he comes across on pretty cheap money as a bit of a fringe player there, to be honest, who had some important roles, no doubt. And he's been one which has been able to convey that message to the young guys that when things weren't going right, he's one who's in there saying, stick to this. And from what I've heard, it goes like far deeper than that. Like, this guy's sitting there, like, literally, you've got your fullback directing traffic and that, but you've got players like, and they're also talking about Bailey Haywood's really good at this as well. He's sort of the one who's who's taken on the role of the fish sort of thing, in pushing that message, on the field, off the field, everywhere they go, just talking to people, making sure their spacings are right, getting them back in where they got to go. Reed Marnie does it on his ear, on his cauliflower ears, but it's called leadership. And I think you're right in saying you sign him for another 2 years. It doesn't hurt on relatively, low salary cap to have someone that with their experience that's trusted by the teammates, which is the most important thing. Forget about fans, and trusted by the coach to be able to drive that system forward, especially when we drop a couple of games and things come into question, because that's when the youngsters themselves start to go, oh, that doesn't fucking work. You know what young people are like. They try something, feels uncomfortable, doesn't work. They want to abandon and go to what's easier. And it's even at that level, you got to deal with that. You hear about that all the time. And I think it's important to have people like him there for that reason. What's your thoughts, Brad, on the fish?
I like the weak-gutted dog. He's done as well. But more importantly, it's not just us that like him. The coach trusts him. The players around him trust him. You want someone in the trenches like that who will tackle their ass off and work hard for the team and help the boys out. That's what he does.
Yep, 100%, brother. And Pete, you haven't been the biggest fan on the fish?
Not at all. WGD. Well, I've had to change my tune a little bit, because you only have to look at all the comments from Serraldo this year about what he thinks about him. And you just mentioned about the communication side of things with in the line, and supposedly him and Bailey Hayward and Reed Marnie are like the three most big with the biggest yap, and you got to be a really smart guy to know defenses these days. And he's had in the Serraldo defensive patterns since he was like a young man. So he's actually come through all those years of Serraldo teaching the Penrith system. And now Penrith are sort of losing their way, because they're bringing in players from other clubs that haven't got that Serraldo system, and that's why their defence is all over the place at the moment. So Serraldo's come to us and taken a few years, and he wanted to bring someone he knew would be able to do it. And I guess he must have been a great communicator at Penrith as well. But, he got dropped from he didn't play in the last two grand finals, did he? He played in one of the grand finals. He didn't play in the last.
He played in 2022. He didn't play in 2023.
Right, so he didn't play in the last one.
And he signed with the Dogs.
Okay, so didn't play the last one. So it's like he lost a little bit of his mojo there to not be in the grand final team in front of someone like, I don't know, was Eisenhuth in that team? 23?
I can't remember if Eisenhuth was there, but what I do know is that Jamin likes to be on the footy. And we saw that he used to have a few run-ins with Jerome Luai on the field, especially on those. I saw it in about 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, Luai and him had a big blue. Yeah. Well,
Luai told him once, but there's talk there. Yeah.
No, Luai told him
not off the field, just on it.
On the field only. Luai told him to pull his head in and get in his position and stop being a lazy prick. That was the message that Salmon actually admitted. He admitted that.
He did. Yeah, because he was actually he was having too many touches, trying to do too much instead of just being where he was supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, the WGD is deserved of his 2-year thing. I'm just never going to be the biggest fan, because I don't know. It's going to take me a year, and maybe it might even be 2 until he gets washed out, because there's going to be another guy comes in who just needs that time to develop, whether it be Todd or whether it be another one of these kids from Flegg or that New South Wales Cup that they wash him out. He'll get washed out. He will get washed out, because at the end of the day, I just don't believe he's a very good footballer, to be fair. He adds courage, but I think there's players way better coming through that will wash him out.
Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of people say stuff like that. Look, look, from a perception issue, he's not the most exciting player of the ball and doesn't give you the feels that he's bending the line or he's making line breaks. But I don't know. My when I played league, the best players in my team weren't making line breaks. The other ones putting their fucking head where I didn't want to put mine and put people on their ass. They were the ones when I'd make a tackle that would suddenly be beside me, helping me drive that fucker back. And that's Jamin Salmon. And that's why he's in our side. And when we see people come and do the same things that he's doing, that's when he'll be washed out. That's when, and he'll happily he'll go to England or he'll go to England or he'll probably coach. But he knows what he's doing. He's been instrumental in us getting off to good starts in some games where everyone's forgotten about him. Just with his slider, he scored that try against the Titans. He did against the Dragons twice last year. He's an important player as far as I'm concerned.
His link-up play this year is much improved than last year. Just playing that link-up play as a 13, it's improved heaps.
Yeah, I just early in the season,
I just think Kurt Mann's better than him at that. But I'm seeing the reason why they're not playing Kurt, because when he comes on after 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, he's
an animal.
And it's coming on and just destroying these defenses. What he just
faster.
did, he's so fast. And he's elusive.
And he steps off both feet.
Yeah, he does.
He passes, him and Salmon passing is neither here nor there, and I'd throw Hayward into that now as well, as far as copping it in the back. But starting and coming on is two different bloody things, you know. Daniel Suluka Fafita against the Sharks could barely make a meter, but he absorbed all their bloody energy so that when our other players come on, they ran right shot over the Sharks. Satili Tupanua was putting on the biggest hits I've ever seen him ever try and do, one after the bloody other.
When Tupanua came on and
Fafita was there to start.
When Tupanua and Mann came on against the Sharks, do you remember the Mighty Ducks for Bash Brothers?
Yeah.
That's who it reminded me of, man. That was sick.
It was.
They were on a mission.
Have you ever seen a movie called Slapshot? Have you guys ever seen an old movie called Slapshot? It used to be a Paul Newman movie back in the 70s. You got these three brothers, and they all wear glasses on the ice hockey rink. If you ever get a chance, even YouTube it, watch these three brothers on it. It reminds me of those Bash Brothers you're talking about, the Mighty Duck. But take it to a completely different level. We're talking about these guys just take people out. Like Satili tried to do. They smash and they punch everyone out. That's actually really funny. If you want to get something on YouTube for a bit of a giggle, type in Slapshot, three brothers, and you'll just watch these three, and you'll go Satili Tupanua and Kurt Mann's two of those brothers. It's just crazy what they come on and doing, isn't it? Like beautiful to watch.
And I also forgot to mention Harry Hayes, the energy he's brought after coming on as for Daniel Suluka Fafita. So he's been wonderful. All right. So g'day, Scotty. Welcome. Sorry we're taking a while to get through, but there's a few of us on here having a gas bag and having a good time. Scotty says we don't need a DCE. Azars, welcome. Bringing in DCE would be a short-term fix and maybe win us a premiership. But with the rebuild we have going, we could be the next Penrith and win 3 or 4 if we stick with our current halves. And I didn't really elaborate too much on that, but I will talk briefly on it. Peter says the so-called gurus are now saying Toby's now in the top 4 halves, previously around the 12th. Well, look, his winning percentage since coming in 16 games last year has been about what? I think he had 5 losses last year and none this year. So 21 wins, 5 losses. That's pretty fucking good for your half, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty good.
And we won the first game he came to us after we lost 66-0 against a very depleted South Sydney side where Blake Taft nearly beat us on his own.
Yeah, he did.
I'll never forget that game. And
then Tallis Duncan runs the length of the field.
That was from the kickoff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that
That
was
was Duncan.
That was from the kickoff. I remember that.
That's where he
my
announced
God.
himself, Duncan.
Mm.
Yeah.
But he said we'll have many New South Wales Cup players that aren't ready for NRL, just not fitness-wise. There you go. Oh, they are ready for NRL. They're just not fit enough to do it, is what he meant. We won't be able to keep them all, no. You know, and you got Fenny Tualalo, who made his return on the weekend. Like, he was trying to put a hard hit on every shot, but he was great in our Jersey Flag Grand Final the year before. He's another one and he plays lock that we'll be watching very, very closely. AJ Jones.
Is he the kid you done that expose on, Mick?
No, that was
No, that was another kid, wasn't it? He was
Yeah.
17. Yeah. Center. He was a center, wasn't he?
yeah.
William.
He played center in flag and wing.
William.
William Afawalo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He came from the Storm system with Farlongo. He's actually a Bulldogs junior. They moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
They came up here to see the family, and COVID hit, and they had to stay. So he just started playing footy up here, and then the Bulldogs signed him from the Victorian Academy. Like, he was the rep player of the year in 2019 for Victoria, so the head of the Melbourne Storm system, basically.
He'll be a gun. He'll be a gun. Don't you worry.
And you know, he might end up somewhere else. Like, we don't know. Like, a lot of these kids aren't signed, and the club doesn't. There's such a bottleneck of talent there that I think they'd be flying blind with some of it. It's, yeah, it's not a position it's a position you want to be in, but it's a very tough thing to get right. When you got so many good players coming through, it's very, very hard.
Because you could let the wrong one go, mate.
You can let one go.
If you get that one go, and he'll go on and do something incredible, you'll sit there and go, why do we not keep him? But we'll keep someone else who doesn't really progress to what we think he will. Like, there's a bottleneck for those halves, I'm telling you. Like, Toby has announced himself the last 2 weeks. He's really announced himself to being close to that guy who says he's taking games by the scruff of the neck, you know what I mean? And he's letting everyone know that I'm deserving of excellent money, like the Dylan Brown situation up there. Like, how can he get that sort of dough? Toby will want a big upgrade. And he'll want to go, a 7 these days. They're $1 million player almost in every other club if they're elite. So,
Well, that's the manager thing now, isn't it? I think the whole hold-up has been
750,000 player now.
Toby and his manager's probably like, we need to guarantee Toby a 3 or 4 year position in a side where there's
Mitch Woods,
talent like Woods and Tia and that coming. Joey O'Neill, Alex Conti.
Very tough.
I always forget the other guy that's really, really good from Harold Matts coming up. Young Alain Uday's son, CJ. He's an absolute champion. He plays on Saturday in the loss against the top of the table, South Sydney. Captain the side on Sunday. He's playing for the Chester Hill Hornets, a fullback running amok. Absolute great talent. Welcome, Timmy. Welcome, Scotty. Welcome, Eshkio. Thanks for that, buddy. Eshkio's he's a Warriors fan, but he comes and says hello and watches the podcast. Very welcome. Timmy, I think Salmon provides stability with the leadership he provides and driving the defensive standards Ciro expects. I wish I just said what you said, Timmy, because it would have taken me a lot less. Scott Pete Noonan, how are you, old mate? Scotty says, the old collegian.
Scotty Wood.
He might know you, Pete.
He must know me. That was my junior club, yeah. So who'd you play for, Scotty? Did we play against each other? Because I know your name, Scott. Wow.
Yeah, Pete said he was better than Jason Taylor, Scott.
No, I never said that. But anyway, yeah, I beat him in a goal kicking.
He's better than Jimmy Smith anyway.
No, I beat him in a goal kicking competition like that. I never said that I'm better than them guys. They're elite players, those two.
He played for City. Scotty played for City.
County the Roos. They were called the Roos. The County Roos.
Well, there you go.
They were the big club. They were like the ones that gave everyone a bike.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had heaps of cash.
Well,
Big
fans
club.
watching, we're going to do what we call the mark of knowledge. And D hasn't come on yet. I was going to get D to keep the score. That's all right. Big shout out to D who wrote out all the questions. But this quiz, guys, it's going to test your knowledge. I'll tell you that much. So I'll keep a little tally.
Can you be paid off this early, mate?
Mate, money talks.
Oh, mate.
Money speaks all languages, they say. So we go Mark, Pete, and Brad. All right, let's start, guys. So all these questions for those playing along at home are the most. So who had the most? Who got the most tries out of the three choices? Who got the most points? Who had the most field goals? Who had the highest winning possession? Who won the most games as a Bulldog? And we're going to see this. This
is a guessing game. You can't even.
It will be for you guys.
This is bullshit. You got to give us a bit of a chance.
Where are my banners? All right, we've got to get to question 1. I can hear crickets. Here we go, guys. Question 1. Who has scored the most tries out of these three players? A, Brett Dallas, B, John Timu, or C, Marcello Montoya?
Okay, Timu.
Mark says Timu.
I would say Montoya's been with the Dogs in first grade for at least 5 years. 6 years, maybe. Brett Dallas a bit longer, maybe about the same. I'll go A. Timo wasn't with us for very long.
Who are you saying, Brad?
I'll lock in the Chilean warrior, Marcelo Montoya.
Oh.
You might be right, Brad.
All right. The answer is Dallas 18, Timu 17, Montoya 21 tries.
Oh,
there we go.
There you go. No, I thought you might have been right. He played the most years for us.
Yeah. And one of those years he was our leading try scorer, 24 tries.
All right. I'm just typing stuff on a chat to Pete Weber where I'm just keeping the score on the chat there because that's all I could find to write on. Great preparation. So I got Brad on 1 point. Question 2. Who has scored the most goals out of these three players? A, Chris Naninu, B, Nick Meaney, or C, Steve Turner?
A for me.
Yeah, it's got to be Inu.
I'll go with C, mate.
Answer is Chris Naninu with 70 goals. So Brad's on 2, Pete's on 1, Mark's on 0.
Where I belong.
If you don't get 1 at least, you're doing a nude run next time we do it on this. You're doing a nudie run, mate.
That'll
if
be
you don't get 1, not
I didn't
1.
know if when I invited you guys that when you come on that you could see me up on the camera when you're waiting. So before Brad got here, I was like getting changed in front of the camera. And he's come on just as I've got my jumper on. And then oh shit, I better be careful. You don't want to get too turned on. All right, question 3.
Give yourself a rap.
Speaking about Willies, which Willie has the most tries? A, Willie Mason, B, Willie Tonga, or C, Willie Talau?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm.
I'll say Willie Tonga.
Mark says Willie, Brad, and Pete.
It's either Tonga or Talau. Willie Talau.
B for
Brad,
me, Tonga.
Talau.
B for me, Willie Tonga.
Well, I know it was Willie someone. Willie Talau. Brad goes to 3. Pete's still on 1. And Mark bringing up the tail, ready to come home like Farlap.
Nobody likes you, Brad.
Well, I just thought Tonga didn't play many years for us. That's how I worked it out.
He went close.
He was at Para for a long time, wasn't he?
Who scored the most points? A, Luke Patton, B, Benny Barber, or C, Moses Mbai?
Moses Mbai kicked for us for a while, so I have to go C.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning towards.
I'm going to go with the general.
Luke Patton.
Patton's played for a lot, but he's
Patton,
off the mark.
Mark's off the mark, 328.
Yeah, you avoid the move run, mate.
So Brad on 3, Pete and Mark on 1. Question 5, halfway through. Who scored the most field goals? Steve Mortimer, Matty Burton, or Craig Polomanta?
Be Senor Craig.
Mark says Craig.
C for me.
Yeah, I think so.
Who do you say, Brad?
Polomanta.
Matty Burton.
Oh, wow.
What?
He's all got that bloody wrong.
Burton's only kicked 2.
He's kicked 6.
He's kicked 6.
2 that mattered. He got that one against the Cowboys too.
What about the Cowboys one? That was a cracker, that one.
Yeah.
From wide out.
Big Polomanta. And a kick.
When Wilson got the ball. No, Preston fell on the ball.
Polomounta's probably more famous for the one he missed.
Yeah.
Preston fell on the ball and Reynolds passed the ball.
Yeah.
I think he was in the quarry to D. I think he's
Flanagan passed it, Brad.
Flanagan
passed it to Burton.
Wasn't Reynolds? Oh no, Reynolds celebrated with him like he won the grand final.
Preston fell on it. Flanagan passed it from dummy, and Burton scored it. I have watched that quite a few times. Question 6. Who has the highest winning percentage playing a minimum of 30 games? A, Jason Smith, B, Jimmy Dimmick, or C, Mick Potter?
Wow.
Are these good questions, eh? They're fucking good questions.
These are nasty. That's really hard.
He needs an intervention, obviously. I'll say Jimmy Dimmick.
Mark says Jimmy.
Mick Potter.
Mick Potter for me because he was in the Dogs of War. But you know what? It's going to be A. Smith.
Jason Smith.
I knew it was going to be Smith. I knew it.
Once you said it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I knew that was a trick question, that one. Because Jason Smith was out injured a lot. And he just, every time we played, we just won all the time because he got us over the line. He was that good.
Very good player. And his son, Bud's still playing. Question 7. Which former club legends have won the most games for the Dogs? Steve Price, Andrew Ryan, or Steve Folkes?
Price.
Brad says Frost. Mark
Stephen.
says Folks. Pete?
Folks.
Oh, there's a comeback coming here. Stephen Folks, 140 ahead of Price on 136. So Brad's on 3.
Nice
Pete
work.
and Mark are on 2.
Let's get this Brad bloke.
He's a sitting duck out in front. He's gone out like, what's the bloody name? Typhoon Tracy.
Oh, Jordan was only down the sideline, eh? Went that quick.
Who's had the most total games started? Both. So, who has played the most games both starting and from the bench? So, combined. Darren Smith, Greg Eastwood, or Darren Britt?
Who had the most total games starting and from bench?
Yeah.
Well, from the bench is a game anyway. Like it's the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So who played the most games for the club out of those 3?
Probably, yeah.
I reckon Eastwood.
Yeah, he has a good shout.
I reckon Eastwood.
Oh no. Well, Smith came to us first and then left and then came back to us.
So did Eastwood.
Mm.
The Beast.
Eastwood, did he? What year? He came to us in 09, didn't he? And then who did he go to and then come back? Eastwood came to us in 09 from Brisbane.
Yeah, then he went to Super League.
Okay. Okay. What year was that? Okay. All right, I'm overthinking it. I'm going to go, I think Britty. Came from West. He was a Cowan guy. Came from Orange down to the West. He's my brother's age. He played with my brother.
Yeah.
He came to the Dogs. He was there with us for a while.
So you're saying Darren Britt. Mark, who'd you say?
Darren Britt.
I went for the Beast. The Beastwood.
Brad?
Yeah, Eastwood.
Darren Smith. 185 games.
Maybe, yeah, okay.
Smith, yes.
Darren Smith was playing with us in 1991. He started with us.
I was 7 years old.
I watched him at the Sonic Cup match semi-final against the Panthers at Wagga. We lost 38-6, something like that.
I remember when I was 17, he scored a try against Canberra when they had that gun team in Canberra. And he flew down the wing. I think he was playing centre then. He came as a second row centre, and he
started he started in the second row.
Yeah, he scored a try down the corner. He ran about 20 metres to score, and I went, "Who the hell is this bloke? He's so fast, you know." And he was unheralded. No one ever knew anything about him. He's such a good player.
Question 9, Battle of the Brits. The most tries by British Bulldogs. A, James Graham. B, Jonathan Davis. Or C, Gary Connolly.
Holy moly.
Gary Connolly was only with us 1 year. Jonathan Davis. I'm going to have to go Jimmy Graham. Hang on. Trick question again.
Yeah, he didn't score many, Jimmy Graham.
He didn't, did he?
He had a few nudie runs, him and Tolman.
Yeah.
I'll go with Jonathan Davies, I think.
Yeah, I'm going Jonathan Davies as well.
Yeah,
Brad?
Same.
Brad's playing it safe, is he?
James Graham.
9 tries.
Oh,
Davis only played one season as well.
Yeah.
With it sucked because him and that side, and the year 93 when Gary Connolly played, I think that's when we last won 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
So Jonathan Davis, Ewan McGrady. I really enjoyed that year that we lost the playoff to Wests for 5th spot. It's a really good year, that.
Jonathan Davies was a Welsh rugby international, wasn't he?
Yeah.
5'8". Very good player.
Very good
Yeah.
player.
Nice player.
Well, guess what, guys? We're up to question 10. And
Well,
Brad looks like, yeah, okay.
if Pete Mark gets it right and Brad gets it wrong, we have a 3-way tie, and I'll have to bring out a tiebreaker.
Well, I'm not saying shit until Brad does.
Who has the best winning percentage in the current squad? A. Kurt Mann, B. Harry Hayes, or C. Bronson Cherry?
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Right, Brad, you're up.
Okay, so best winning percentage in the current squad. Okay, so that's Harry Hayes. He hasn't lost. 100%. I just gave it away for you boys, but anyway.
He's won it because that's correct. And he's played fewer games. He played a few games last year. And he might have lost those 2 games against the Cowboys. And Bronson came in around about week 4 or 5 last year. And then we lost.
We lost our first 2.
I'm going to say the man.
God, I love Kurt, man.
He's awesome.
So who are you saying, Brad?
Harry Hayes.
You're saying man? Who are you saying,
Harry
Brad?
Hayes. Well, I'll go the tiebreaker. I'll go Bronson Cherry.
Bronson Cherry, it is. We have a breakup. Mark, you're out.
Gone.
We haven't even talked about Kurt, man. Like he brings a tear to the eye, don't he? That guy.
I love
He's
Killer.
the legend.
Oh my God.
All right, let me get one here. Where's he gone?
Did she give you a tiebreaker question, Mick?
Oh, yeah, I've got more. Yep.
You have.
Of course you have.
Won't be a sec.
Could be the longest tiebreaker on record. Built up all that momentum and it's now gone, Mick.
Nah, it's all good.
That's a pretty awesome winning percentage that Sherry's got, 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, here's the tiebreaker, lads. The current squad, who has the most points? Bronson Cherry, Jacob Preston, or Blake Wilson?
Oh, come on, boys.
Presto for me.
No, he's always good 9 tries. Wilson.
Wilson. Best winger in the club.
Who are you saying, Pete?
I said Preston. I have to stick with that.
Pete's a winner.
Presto.
Well done, Pete.
Well done.
Good job, buddy.
You've run him down at the end, mate. Well done.
Got him.
You get free.
Right.
What are you doing, Mick? God.
Something to cuddle up to at night that won't condescend you and put you down, Pete.
Yeah. Righto, mate. When do you come down to Sydney? You coming down for a long weekend in King's birthday, are you?
Yeah, Mark will be down too. So,
Yeah.
Pete Weber will be there. We'll catch up. We'll meet up, have a beer, a couple of hours before, I reckon.
Sounds
and then,
like a plan.
Yeah, try and get tickets close to each other. I'm seeing what the club can do. Considering
Well, I've got before game member tickets, so I'm going South game.
Yeah, I'll be at South game.
I've already sorted that out. And
I thought the crowd at that course on the weekend was pretty ordinary. I thought the fans could have been there in a greater number.
I can't wait. They reckon that game we might get 70,000
against Parramatta.
Mm.
Yeah, it'll be on for sure.
Moses should be there by then.
Yeah, you'll be there.
Yeah. They're for all St. Greg's boys, the guys on that the bottom of that list there that Scott Wood sent. So all St. Greg's blokes, a year below me.
Yep.
James Winchester, James Burton, and Paddy Preston. They're a year below me at collegians.
Yep.
But James was in my year at school. He was one of my friends. Paddy and Berto were a year below.
Well done, Pete. I can't remember what I did last week.
You know what? It's like
at the Brado, Scott said.
Bradbury Pub. You would have known that. You would have been there, wouldn't you? Bradbury Pub.
I can't remember. I was pretty young in Sydney, running around in suits and ties, fucking selling shit.
Just like you are now.
High five and doing the thing.
Or you an Eshe, mate?
No, it's fucking far from that. Just having a good time, All across. Lived at Campsie, lived at Hurstville, lived at Campbelltown, lived in Liverpool, lived in Minto.
All the hot
places. All the great places.
All the great places. Hey, high society there at Minto.
I lived in Minto for a while. Hey, Scotty, just a quick word. Thanks for reaching out to, mate, and remembering all that stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, Benny Murray, Greg's boys, top blokes, Benny Murray. Timmy says he's hoping to get out to Good Friday clash any mail if Jared Sutton is the ref. No mail on that, mate, but I reckon it's a pretty strong chance. They seem to do it.
Do you reckon that's probably about $1.02, Mick? He'll get the friggin' run?
If Sutton refs that game, it's going to be hell to pay.
Oh, we'll just take him out of it. Simple. Well, it's not that simple, is it?
After watching South on the weekend, and they got all those injuries to their halves, and potentially doesn't look like they're coming back anytime soon either, with hamstring grade 2s and that. Mate, I'm telling you, their kick chase is diabolical, and
I couldn't believe they won that match.
They're fucking
like those dropouts where the ball dropped in his goal and rolled.
I know.
They're imposters, mate.
Yeah, they don't fear us.
Forward passes, fucking. There's no doubt they believe they're a better team because they're coach, but
we'll run them off their feet. I'm telling you, we'll play the same game as well. I don't know what Serrato's going to do with his game plan, but I believe that the litmus test has already been done with these other last two games. And South, I don't care how Wayne Bennett supposedly he's taking all this weight off the second rower and all that. We'll run them blokes off their feet. Have you ever seen a bloke more tired than we and Kennedy at the end of a game after we absolutely poleaxed that guy? That I felt sorry for him almost by the end of the game. The fitness of our blokes.
Good player, William Kennedy.
He was knackered, mate. That last tackle by Critter, he got off the ground. It took him like 2 minutes to get off the ground. And he just must have looked up at that defensive wall come down at him and going, again? How can they be doing this at the 77th minute? And we were doing it in the 77th minute. It's ridiculous.
Just on a side note, did you know for the fourth year in a row, according to the great Matt Nable on Fox Sports, Latrell Mitchell has never been fitter. Latrell
never
been fitter.
Latrell will need to be fit come Good Friday because we'll just shut him down like we did to Ponga. And
I think that's going to be a good battle, him and Critter.
He's a bit
Latrell
harder
versus
to
Critter.
take down, I must say. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
No, he's done.
But, Latrell's allowed to, just fall on a player's head with his body, and nearly knock them out when they're laying on the ground. That's fine. But Marnie can't do it.
When our blokes go back and you see the Sharks players do it, our blokes do it, the back five, Latrell's playing centre. He doesn't do any of that. He never runs back and takes that hit out of yardage.
Mm.
I watched him last week against Roosters, mate. He never took one of those yardage runs, not one. And I watched him set after set after set, not going back, and he stays out in his centre. He just waits for the right opportunities when we're in good ball, and then he'll start wanting to have a crack at it. But he won't do the hard shit. Mate, you know what? I love him when he plays for New South Wales, but he's dog shit for the club. Dog shit. And I want someone who's got effort. Effort. There's no effort with him.
Yeah. Well, Mal Meninga brought out a stat that Latrell is literally, when it comes to final where the fullback's the last defender and they make a tackle, he's got the highest tackling percentage of stop and tries than any other fullback in the comp. I was trying desperately to get onto the radio to talk to Mal about that. I said, yeah, but they don't count it when you don't fucking get there to make an attempt, do you? Do they? If it was based on the amount of tries scored and the amount of times you attempted to get there, he wouldn't even be in the conversation.
He wouldn't.
Same with Reece Walsh.
Talking about him being able to, such a big body, be able to, strength-wise, you can't get it twisted. He can hit anybody, front rowers and drive them back. He's so big. But he just doesn't get there because he's sort of, Reece Walsh is sort of in the same boat as him in regards to that desire to get there and make plays in defence. And, I think he's trying to change his ways with Madge.
That's why I talk about this media and stuff, because they sit there and interview Madge Maguire and they go, oh, Reece Walsh, he's, Corey Parker, who gets down there with him at training, and that sometimes he goes, oh, Reece Walsh, there's no more meticulous. He's not just this show pony. There's no more meticulous, hard-working trainer than Reece Walsh, is there, Madge? And Madge always goes, yeah, when he's saying, huh? He goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Walters said it to the whole fucking world about 3 times that, Reece, he's got a really poor diet habits. He's working on it, but he's got a lot to work on to get himself right. And we're doing it bit by bit. He's a great talent, but, he won't reach his potential for a few years. And, but these media, they just make shit up in their head and the ex-players, unfortunately, are becoming the worst ones at it. Ex-players get on there and talk about the game of rugby league, and they got so much wisdom and knowledge. Pete, you've played the game. We've all played it. Some at much higher levels than others. Me, not high at all. But there's secrets in the game. There's strategies in the game through every era, and they just sit around the edges of it when they talk about it. They just talk about the Hollywood moments. They don't talk about how, play 1 to play 5, how it's set up that try. It's very rare. Even Sterlo as an analyst would only talk about the current play that was happening, not how it led up to it. It's they could share so much more to fans than they do. It's all about who's the best and who's the worst and who are we going to celebrate and who are we going to fucking kick while they're down, That
was good.
Can I give you a little take on what I think about that? Is when I'm involved with helping out my daughter's first ever tackle team down here at Thurl. And the game has changed so much from when I played it. And I'm still learning so much by going down there and listening to this guy's coaching, because he was still playing 5 years ago. and he's still playing in this Illawarra comp, very strong comp, first grade, and so it's still pretty fresh in his mind how things are played, and he's simplified it for the girls. Corey Parker and all these other blokes. Let's go back. Sterlo played in the 80s, finished in the early 90s. The game's changed so much from when they played. It's changed so much since when I played. And I'm learning so much from just listening to him, what he's saying, because I thought I had a really good broad knowledge of the game, but I know fuck all compared to what's really going on now tactically. You have to really listen and learn from these guys. So, it's a good, what do you call it? A good little wake-up call for me, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go,
That's the thing. The more people they can get talking us through what's actually happening, and it sort of, and the more they can share around the roles rather than just stick with stats and fantasy and all this crap, actually talk about how each person contributes, because I think it stops the fans being as fucking mental and bipolar as they are when it comes to winning and losing. It's just fanatical craziness, and the media love it because whether they get good or bad sort of press from whatever they say, everyone has an opinion on it, and the opinion's not really got any substance half the time. It's fucking bullshit. And then there's me, who knows everything. So,
no shit.
Michael's here, and happy birthday to Tim for the 5th of April. Well done, Timmy.
Happy birthday, Timmy.
Timmy, happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday, mate.
Ultimate birthday present of the win. Michael, you missed out. You would have killed that quiz tonight, mate. So you'll have to go back and watch it and try to watch from the start and see what score you would have got. I'll trust that whatever you tell us is the real score. And we'll see if you can beat Pete, who got 4 out of 11. And he won. So well done, Pete. Timmy, I wanted to speak about Lachlan Hubner. I think I mentioned him on my review the other night, although he didn't play in our game. His performance for South Sydney was something that I liked in that game. And there was a lot I didn't like in that game. His defense and ruck control, especially even on one-on-one hits as well. He is a fucking someone that if he come to the Dogs, he'd fit right in. So he's one that Wayne Bennett stole from the Dolphins. And
he's the only one he brought down. He's the only one he stole.
They're going to regret. He also brought.
He brought the Dragons guy.
Yeah.
The Warriors.
Aiken.
Yeah. Ewan.
Timmy says, "We mark Mr. Exclusive Tarver, take Mr. Mark O'Connell. We love you, champion."
Love you more, Timmy. Don't you worry about that, buddy. Brothers.
Michael was at the game. He said, by the way, when I looked at the crowd number, I was very surprised because it felt like 35,000 were there and I was at the game. Well, I only said there was 24,000, but, it looked like there was more than 30. G'day, Pete. Good night, Pete Weber. No team has won the first 5 rounds and not made the grand final in NRL history. Well, I was expecting that to come from Michael, but what do you reckon about that, Michael Cool?
That's a good little spat.
What was that, Mark?
Big shout out to Mike. Love Mike. He's an integral part of the All Things Bulldogs family, and I just love the stats he comes up with. I think I'd like to take him out for dinner.
Well, he'll need to come meet us all down at the ground with Pete and
King's birthday week. We got to meet Mike and shout him a beer or two.
King's birthday. We might have to take him out, Mark.
Yeah, I will. Hey,
show him the way.
Illegitimate son.
This is the way. Scotty Wood, the send-off crackdown.
No.
I'll be here for 47 minutes if I start again.
Yeah. Just stand there and get sent to the sin bin.
Ewan Aiken is like Darius Boyd, Timmy says. He's the new Wayne. They sleep. Darius and Wayne used to go to bed together too, apparently.
I think they still do.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Michael says he hopes to see you, Mark. Oh, he was about to say the stat that Pete come out with. Well, yeah, well, we know you would have, matey.
Yeah.
You're all over it.
Foregone conclusion, mate. Foregone.
All right, so look, we might touch on the crackdown a little bit in a second, but let's look forward to the South Sydney game, Brad.
Yep.
Who's in the forward pack? Obviously, Burton's going to 5'8". There's no halves dilemma for the coach. What clickbait come through today? Can't believe it was shared on any Facebook group or wherever. Burton comes into number 6. Toby is number 7. Yep. And Bailey goes back to number 17, yep, where Kurt Mann will be 14. So when Kikau, so that means that Jack Todd will pop out because Tupanua comes yep back in. So Kikau comes in as well. So that means that does Curran go to the bench?
Curran goes to play.
Harry
Curran
Hayes
starts.
Curran starts for Daniel Saluka for feeder.
Yep.
Right. Everyone agree on that?
No, I don't.
What do you think should happen, Mark?
Funnily enough, I don't. I don't think much changes. Kikau goes to the left, Preston back to the right. Salmon will stay at lock to start. Kurt Mann, Saluka for feeder, and Max King will start. Curran back to the bench with Harry Hayes and Bailey Hayward.
So where's Tupanua?
Oh, sorry, Toops. Yeah, Toops.
So you got to drop one out, buddy.
Tupanua?
There's 18 players there. You got to drop one out.
All right, hold your fucking horses, mate.
Got him. You just trapped yourself, Mark. You just trapped yourself.
He's in the bin.
Now I'm lost.
You're gone. You're gone.
Curran,
you're gone.
Curran, Tupanua, Hayes, and Hayward. Is that not what I said?
No, you missed Tupanua.
What about Kurt Mann?
Kurt Mann.
We have to play with 18 on the weekend. I'll call Blandies and let him know.
Well, if Sutton's playing, we bloody deserve to play with 18. And I said that deliberately. If Sutton's playing for South, which he usually does, Daniel Saluka for feeder will drop out of the squad unless there's an injury, and Josh Curran will go to front row because that's just the way that the system works. And they'll have Harry Hayes, Kurt Mann, Satili Tupanua, and Bailey Hayward on the bench. That's how it'll work.
Plays the front row rotation, mate?
Hey?
Who plays in the front row rotation?
Hayes comes on for Curran. Tupanua goes on for Max King.
Oh, Tupanua's playing in the middle.
Yeah, he's always played in the middle, yeah.
He's played in the middle the whole time.
Yeah, he's been playing in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been devastating them in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but out of all those players, yeah, look, to me, it just comes down to they've all got their spot, and then you got to choose between whether you play Saluka for feeder or Josh Curran. Josh Curran's going to get the job because he can play 80 minutes on an edge if he needs be, or 60 minutes in the middle if they had to do it.
Salmon might drop.
Can't. That's the way it comes.
Can I throw a what do you call it?
Spanner in the works?
No, just a hypothetical. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Where if Hughes was fit at the moment, right now, what do you think would happen with Serraldo, and what decision do you think he would make right now? And just like if Hughes was playing all right too. Like he was playing well, he was doing his job, doing his 45 minutes and playing, and we were still doing what we're doing right now. And Hughesy was in the side and doing the job. What would you think would happen? Maybe Saluka Fafita probably wouldn't have been getting a run. To be fair.
Saluka Fafita would be next man up after Hughes, but
but if you had that rotation,
it's actually not a bad. It's not a bad thing to throw into the as a hypothetical, because I think he was a lock. I think Harry Hayes would probably drop out for Curran on the bench.
What about when Leo Thompson comes next year? That's
that's just what a magnificent problem.
This is why I wanted to talk about it, guys, because this is where we can start to look forward to. There's now 7 spots available. We've got 23 signed, including Lipboy Hopboy's part of that 23 top 30 next year.
Mitch Wood's still in that top 20.
Yeah, Woods is in the top 30 for the next couple more years. So they got to decide whether they bring Cassius Tia into the top 30. They've got to decide whether they bring in, whether they upgrade Jack Underhill again.
Well, he'll take Drew Hutchison's spot, Tia, wouldn't you think?
I think he could, because he can play centre and play lock, and he can also play halves. Both of them.
Exactly.
I think Joey O'Neill might go before Tia into the top 30.
Okay.
I think they'll both go.
Yeah, I do too.
I think they will eventually, definitely. Yes. I'm not sure how.
It's a bottleneck of halves and small ball, isn't it? Like we're playing small ball. We're playing small ball anyway, but we're putting a lot of small guys in that top 30 because Serraldo's changing the game. The evolution of the game is did you read that the other day? Someone was talking about there's been evolutions of the game. Remember Ricky Stewart got that Roosters team and no one was doing the up and in defence. Everyone was sliding, and all of a sudden Ricky brought in the up and in defence. Just revolutionises games. Certain coaches come in with something really new and then they change everything. I think Serraldo is doing that now.
Warren Ryan did it under the 5 metre rule to start. He was
with that packs and that when they went from scoring 30 to scoring 4.
Yeah, but we had halfbacks in the second line back then as well for cover to help with the fullback.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Steve Mortimer played today, he'd be playing fullback.
Yes.
No doubt about it. And he'd be one of the best.
Oh, can you imagine him at fullback? Oh my God.
Or hooker.
Maybe.
Sorry. Can we get back? Sorry, I didn't mean to take us off track. I was just going to.
Yeah, well, let's get back on track.
Hughes, what would you think, fellas?
Thanks, Pete.
Well, I'll get us back with Hughes in a second, but I think that Hughes definitely goes ahead of Saluka Fafita, and I think Hayes drops out. But looking at our squad for next year, I think there will be a choice between Blake Wilson and Blake Taff. I think Jonathan Sewell will be elevated to the top 30 and thoroughly because they've got someone there who's on these players are on 250. They're going to put Jonathan Sewell up there on a minimum deal.
I think they'll let him.
He won't be going. No way.
Yeah, I think they will.
He's too much of a talent.
Renakama is more of a talent.
Jeffro's too many errors in his game.
He's faster. His defense isn't there yet, and Sewell can play in the centres as well. He's more versatile. And if you haven't seen Jonathan Sewell's step off left and right foot, you're missing out. It's fucking shimmy, 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 shim.
Is it like is it Carraz like a couple of years ago like that? Stepping left, right, boom, boom, and then change of pace and hitting top speed quickly, or what? Is it like that?
No one's like Carraz. The way Carraz runs, I've never seen before, and probably why he's got hip issues.
It's a unique style.
His style.
Very unique. Very unique.
Jonathan Sewer's got size. And what I love about Rennie Karma and Sewer is the way they carry out of their own end. Sewer's done that in his debut made 175 metres and didn't take a
cool.
backward step. Got tired at the end. Was under pressure for competing for footballs, competing for him in attack. They've got a big plan for him, and Rennie Karma, I think, will come into the 30 as well. But those guys have got a lot of work to do on their defence and their first contact.
They will do.
Yep. Sua's ahead of Rennie Karma in that regard.
Yeah, Rennie Karma's got more potential.
What about Mazzoni? Mazzoni's.
He's still a few years away.
You will miss out.
Yeah, he's still a few years away. He's just not there in defence.
Yeah, but I mean,
well loved though.
His pathway is going to be blocked, though, Brad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. But iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe. He's behind those guys at this point, but he's not far behind. And then you've got young Danny Gabriel, and if you've been watching him,
he's good.
Defensively getting real good. And
defense. Yeah.
Magic hands. He's your when you're going back and looking at your Kurt Gidleys and all that sort of stuff, this guy's got that game. But
I
when
think
you can take that from that level to first grade is a whole new kettle of fish.
He's one of those guys who could fit that utility Craig Wing, Gidley mould when you can play Origin, like coming in.
Not Kurt Gidley. Matt
Gidley. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Matt Gidley, Willie Ponga.
Yeah.
That elusiveness off the step. Tamana Hatahu, that sort of shit.
Was it you who said that he's got less of an ego than his brother as well? Like he's a lot more.
Michael was a lot in your face and stuff. Where I haven't seen that from Danny. I haven't seen him, getting people's faces and tell them that they're shit. And
but that was a good trade deal, Michael for Connor. I'll take that any day of the week.
What a deal!
I think Gabriel's got big problems with Alafoa coming through as well, so he might get surpassed. Quite possible.
You just don't know. I think there'll be clubs like the Panthers and who want a couple of young guys which are ahead of theirs. See, the problem with the Panthers at the moment, they've got too many of their young guys all in at once.
Yes,
they've always been able to bring one in at a time.
That's right.
But Alamotti's not there, and like he's there when you put other big names around him.
Yeah.
But when it's him, he's the most senior player in that back line. It's like he was the other day.
Yeah, but him and Tago have gone backwards in defence this year, fellas. Jesus, like their breeds in defence have been horrible.
Too many young blokes, that's the problem.
But it all comes down from your middle, Pete. Fisher Harris, the work Fisher Harris and Leota did on each through the middle, inside out, which is how they defend.
Yeah.
They've lost that, man.
Yeah.
They've lost
Fisher Harris, best defensive prop in the game.
Papali can't do. That's why that's the only reason Warriors can win a game is because they've got a coach from the system,
and they've also got another prop who's a dog like that too with Barnett. Barnett is 100%. Barnett and Fisher Harris. Go fuck yourself. That is bullshit. That's like good luck.
Fanua Blake is just
Fanua,
nothing compared to them. He's got it with the ball, but without the ball, like he works hard. He does big minutes. He tackles hard. He's a beast, but he's not the same. He's not the system player.
No, he's not a system player. No.
Whereas Fisher Harris is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about their reads in defence. I mean, I know about the middle and what have you, but they're biting in a lot, and the Panthers for years haven't bit in. Like they're biting in like we destroyed Brisbane last year.
Yeah.
Destroyed Brisbane in that game because they just worked out Brisbane's biting in all the time when those wingers kept coming in, the centres keep digging in, and they dig in without even needing to.
Yeah.
And Serraldo and Taylor and whoever worked their game plan. I'm watching Penrith there. Got some horrible habits this year. I don't know what's going on. Fuck.
They'll sort it out, mate. Whether it takes a couple of years or whatever, they'll sort it out.
They got a new Cole. They got Cole. He's on that side as well, and it's like, they're.
He's injured or been dropped. or been suspended.
So
they got Talangi in this week. Timmy's put out a Tracy, Cruz, Critter, Cherry, Montoya, Burton, Sexton, King, Marnie, DSF, Kikau, Presto, Salmon, Man, Satilli, Curran, Haywood, Hayes, or Helpoy as his 18th and 19th man. Yeah, I can't begrudge anyone who picks that side, but I'm just telling you that they're going to pick the players who can handle the middle and play longer minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Haywood
before, you cannot underestimate the energy that a DSF absorbs just by being the size he is and being out there for 18 minutes. It helps our team.
Takes a lot of pressure off Max King, for sure.
Does and that's why I'm so excited about Leo Thompson. And when I talked his game up, 46 tackles, 1 missed on the weekend, 72 minutes. You add that to Max King, 1 and 2 punch, and then you've still got the depth of Sam Hughes is definitely there next year. You've got Curran, Tupanua, Harry Hayes, Jack Todd, Jack Underhill, Lipboy, Hotboy. You know, you've got Franny Tuolalo developing.
Wow. That tackle he done on King on the weekend, coming out of the line, 15 metres out, bashed our alpha. He's put Serraldo and all our staff on notice going, I'm going to be the new fucking alpha in this club. When I come next year, I'm going to be your number one.
He'll be wearing number 8.
He'll be the number 1 alpha in the club next year. After that tackle, he meant business. He really wanted to show them in that game.
I agree with Tim. Good on you, Timmy. Right team, mate. Well done, mate. You're the man.
So you'd put Harry Hayes at number 18?
Yeah, I do.
But he'll get.
It's hard because no one really deserves to get dropped. They're playing that. Everyone's playing that well.
Okay, so we're going to leave out Aaron Burton as well. Well, because they were pretty impressive with our kick out and Burton for the last.
Yeah, but Mark, the cream rises to the top, and Birdo and the kick out of the cream.
But the cream beat the Sharks and shut out the Knights.
Yeah, this is true. Like I said, iron sharpens iron. Everyone else stepped up. When your 2 guns are out, everyone needs to share the workload, and they did that.
Yeah, I thought Haywood was outstanding.
Outstanding, yep.
And Preston on the left, where he should be playing. Don't tell Mick that I said that, but he's a left edger, Jacob Preston, and I think you've seen that in the last 2 weeks. He goes pretty good.
He prefers to defend on the left.
First attack on the left too.
But it was also the game plan.
It's what we needed. And he delivered it in spades. And they did that a few times. Kikau was out last year too, and the year before. Preston went into left edge.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's not the best left edge in the club. And Kikau's the best left edge in the club. And Kikau's not going to play right edge because he's too old, too past it, too set in his ways.
No, he's got that step, Mick. He's got that step that's perfect for the left edge.
Yeah, the fend, the carry.
Right, he's got that carry with the right arm, palm with the left, and that step off with the left foot. It's won't work on the other side.
There'll come a time where Kikau, I don't even know if he'll go another contract.
Contracts, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if he'll play again. Like
I think
puts a lot of effort in.
Eventually, he'll probably move to the middle for a little while before he finishes up. But
well, Preston went in the middle for a bit during that game on the weekend. I don't know if you've noticed.
On a mission, that didn't matter what was going on. He was there to tackle it.
So was Blake Taft playing second row for 3 minutes?
No.
He wasn't playing hooker.
Just an extra half.
Yeah, just there, right? Just hanging around.
Just hang around the middle, Brad, and just like be a buzzer.
Fill the hole. It doesn't matter where they are. Fill the hole.
Yeah, couldn't give a fuck.
Everybody, we got the right spacing from the middle on the inside out. Yep. All right, let's go. Come in a bit. Connor's out the back saying, come in a bit. Salmon's out there. They're all fucking talking.
It'd be interesting
And
to see
soon they don't have to talk.
this week. It'd be interesting to see where we kick to South now that Burton comes back, whether he takes that kicking role, even though his knee. They might actually say, you know what, Toby, you've been doing such a great job. Let Berto ease his way back in and take a little bit of pressure off that knee and don't kick.
I think it'll come down to the game plan. Look, we saw round 1, Burton did 100% of the kicks, all to the same player.
Yep.
Round 2 and 3, Toby did all the kicks. Then they varied it the next week. Last week, it looked like Hayward wasn't intending to kick unless Toby ran the ball on the 4th. So it just will depend on what the game plan is. I'll tell you what they did do for Jacob Carraz. They gave him the gut buster he needed to get him that residual fitness for round 7.
Yeah.
They kicking to Marju actually did pretty good, to be honest.
He was under all sorts of pressure, Marju.
In other games, he would have conceded about 7 tries from 11 bombs like that.
As I said to you on that message, he'd be in therapy this week, Marju.
Yeah.
He's just his head would be a bobblehead. He'd be feeling like he's in the red house. What have they done to me, mate? It was almost cruel. They just kept putting that ball perfectly there. Carraz attacking him, and we probably should have got more joy out of it. Don't you reckon?
Yeah,
the amount of times he put pressure on him and won that position.
There's one disallowed try there from Carraz. I reckon went forward to Kurt Mann. That was disallowed. I thought that was rude. That should have been awarded.
Well, the ref was right on the spot.
Ball enough, but in live time, I said that's forward. When I looked at the replay, when I looked at the replay and the fact they called it a try, I thought it would have been. They shouldn't have been able to overrule it.
But one of them think it's not definitive enough, isn't it? That's the ruling. If you don't 100% think it's definitive enough to be I'm overruling it, you can't overrule it. And she overruled it. Was it a she? Was it Badger in the bunker?
I don't know. I think it's probably
Wyatt Roy. Wyatt Roy was in the bunker for us.
Right. Okay. So,
well, I'm liking a young what's his name? The hooker. Reed Marnie kicking out of dummy half. I think that absolutely adds a string to our bow, and I think we'll see a bit of that against South on Good Friday. To Alex Johnston, I think, just to keep him out of play too.
Is AJ back?
Yeah, I think AJ's back.
Is that the word on the street? Yeah. Okay.
Alex Johnston's back here, mate.
Okay.
I think we're just going to bomb. What's his name? Dry Gray. I think we're just going to bomb him, and just be there every time he catches that ball.
Oh, mate.
Just to drive him to submission.
Good little player. Fucking good little player.
Isn't he?
And you actually haven't seen anyone jump over him this year. So hopefully Critter can get him, eh?
We'll send Carraz his way.
Oh, mate.
Timmy says Luke Smith is far away from getting a debut.
Yeah, Timmy, I'd agree with that. Luke Smith looks he looks ready to go, mate. He does.
Bit hard on Luke at the moment. He sort of started as a centre, like his pathway was there for injuries. He's gone back and he's been playing edge, back row, back in New South Wales Cup. He's been 18th man, captain of the Jersey Flag side last year, so they hold him in high regard. Hopefully we keep winning and we get some Origin reps and we're able to debut some of these guys that way. That's what I want to see, because that means you're just killing it.
He's the blonde-headed guy. He's a blonde-headed fella, isn't he?
From the Greater Northern Tigers. So he come through the same pathway as Logan Spinks, is another bloody really good player coming through. Eli Clark come through there as well.
I was just going to say, is Eli Clark the one that got the debut last year that he could have potentially pushed for that spot?
Yeah, no, is it Cronulla?
Cronulla now. Yeah, no, I'm saying, remember when Eli Clark got his debut? Luke Smith could have probably pushed for that. Would have been between the two of them to get that spot.
Well, I think Clark second row to start with, wasn't he?
You what?
I think Clarkey was started in the second row, didn't he?
No,
not Eli Clark.
Started
No, he's always wing and centre.
Him and Sewer started together.
Luke Smith.
Oh, Luke Smith, second rower for sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Went back to our centre.
Yeah.
This year. Timmy says, do you believe Preston will be in the 17th for New South Wales? That could provide an opportunity for Luke Smith if Preston gets selected for New South Wales. Potentially, but I think they're likely to put a Satili Tupanua onto the edge or a Curran again to replace Preston. And then see who we need in the middle, which would mean they bring Jack Todd back in, they bring their boy Hot Boy back in through that way. I think Luke Smith will have to wait a while.
Preston's
Who's in front of him?
About 5 players.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. There's 5 players still in front of him.
There's Angus Crichton, fucking
Dog of Dogs. There's a Dog of Dogs. There's
Olakuatu.
There's the Canberra dude.
Hudson Young's out of him. Laurie Daly's going to pick Hudson Young. Let's just get that.
He is.
and they're all saying, "Oh, Hudson Young's had the best start to a season he's ever had," and all this sort of stuff. And
Preston eats him alive.
That's Preston.
That's fine.
Preston eats that guy alive.
We had what I believe the second best fullback in New South Wales for how many years in the general, and never got to go.
Never got to run.
And we won premierships because of it.
As
we would have won more.
Yeah,
got one run.
I was at that game in a dead rubber, which we won 18-4.
Yeah, best winger going around for years, but couldn't get a run in State of Origin. Ridiculous.
He played well in that game too. They were on our line for the first 10 minutes, and we turned them away and then beat them in Suncorp.
Like Hodgson was getting in front of him, wasn't he? And the guy from Melbourne, Robbie Ross, and
in front
of him. I'm going, General's better than Robbie Ross. But anyway,
Zion Mai'u. He's going all right, Zion.
Apparently tracking pretty good.
He's been frustrated a little bit in the
brings good energy off the bench.
Sort of haven't flowed for him the way you see him running off the back fence, and the ball just sort of bobbed up there, and he sort of had to check his run a couple of times, and just stuff like that. It just hasn't been flowing for him.
He's trying to hard.
And he really wants to. He wants to be a part of that top 17. He's going to have to be patient. He's just going to have to work hard and get his opportunity.
You'll get a shot.
It's exciting with the ball, but it's about how exciting and for how long you can defend without it. You could have Jack Todd as 18th man. I feel we need cover for Burton and Kikau in case there is late changes. I think Burton will be playing against Souths, Timmy. Kikau, I'm not so sure. I think Kikau might be an inclusion for the Broncos match.
Crichton might be out though. We might be missing Crichton for the South game.
I think he'll play.
He might play, but I think he might get the week off too.
I didn't like reading about his issue at all.
No, it's there.
I've had nerve damage in my neck and stuff, and I lost my right arm.
Yep.
I lost my right arm completely until I had to have neck surgery and that. So it's not. I had the same surgery as Oluwapu, and it's not great. It's nerve pain is something different, man. It's really bad.
Oh, I've experienced it for years.
Awful.
Don't be surprised. Ronaldo gives him an extra week off.
If Critter doesn't play, do we bring Connor Tracy to centre and Taff the fullback, or we're putting a centre in there?
Spine's not changing, brother.
Who's coming in the centre then? If Critter's not there,
plenty of options.
Plenty of options. There's Luke Smith. We were just
Salmon, Harry Hayes.
I'm not going to put Harry Hayes.
Jacob Preston.
No, not doing that either. But yeah, Blake Taff would be an option. Drew Hutchison would be an option.
Please, no chance.
Hutchison's been playing
You
centre.
could probably put Carraz to centre and Blake Wilson to wing, I suppose.
Carraz will go to. That's exactly where you go, Pete.
Carraz will go to centre. Jonathan Sewell make his debut.
Jonathan Sewell in front of Blake Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh, Blake Wilson, yeah, good option.
Yeah, Wilson goes to right wing.
But now is he our fullback? Is he the best fullback in the club?
Who?
Wilson.
Blake Wilson.
Best winger.
Best winger, right?
He's not better than Jacob Carraz.
Yeah, I know.
Mark, come on, mate.
He's better looking.
He got better abs.
And that sexy as you ask all the girls. So now we've got a low. What's going on?
Michael for the stat. I forgot to mention it. Teams that have opened the season with 5-0 and didn't make the finals are Glebe in 1917. They lost 2 competition points for fielding an ineligible player. Manly in 1960 and the Roosters in 1992. The Broncos won. The year the Broncos won.
There's nothing Mike does.
The Broncos won their first 6 games in 1988 and didn't make the finals, and same for the Cowboys in 2006. Ooh. Well, Pete, he's gone over the Weber. Oh, we'll have to stick with Michael because he is the David Middleton of our team.
He's the king, mate. He is the king.
God, he's so good, isn't he?
He's outstanding. Some of the stuff he comes up with just blows my mind.
Thank you so much, Michael. And thank you to everyone who keeps coming on and saying hello. We're going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes, guys. The stream probably is lagging a bit because we got 4 people on and that's what happens. But yeah, sorry about that, guys. And you'd have people trying to talk and then the audio cuts another person out. And, you know, when Brad's always talking over everyone all the time.
Yeah.
I try my best.
It's hard to get a word in, isn't it, Brad?
That's right.
No wonder you lost the
Kurt man for Queensland, Timmy says.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We had a bit of buffer in there. Sorry about that, guys. Sherwin was unlucky not to get a run in Origin. He had guys like Kamali and Johns.
That's
so there you go.
It's true. Yes.
You got players which are in the top 3, top 4 in their state. You can win comps.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have to play. That's been the Sharks for the last few years, to be honest.
Yes.
I got your stat now, Mike.
Hey, are you guys convinced about watching Trindle and Hines together? Like after playing them and how clueless they looked once we applied the pressure and the blowtorch was applied to them too, they completely lost their way.
I think Trindle didn't. He struggled a bit, but he's had. If you've been watching, I don't just watch one team. He's had good games against good clubs.
You watch all the teams, every team.
Yeah, so Trindle plays good, and I think if he should just wear the 7 and Hines wears the 6, and then there's no questions to ask really. He's the one running the team. Yeah, it's just. I think it creates a bit of a mind fuck, Pete, because you've got the 7's the man, and when the 6, and I think we've struggled that at the Dogs a little bit with Birdo being the 6 but being the main man. Since Sexton's come and he's getting the run of the football, and Birdo's just running the ball and not, and then just doing his kicks because that's his role, and then linking up together from time to time. It makes it so much simpler. But when you had players like Flanagan there and with Birdo, Flanagan couldn't get a call on the ball. So it just, I think these things can be really cripple sides because you've got Trindle who's probably on half of what the other bloke's on.
He's on 600, I think. He got an upgrade. And
yeah, well, and
Nico's on $1 million. So they got $1.6 million in their halves there. What I'm saying is when Nico ran the ball from the open to the blind, and he done that blindside raid that he got a Dally M for, no one went with him because what he was doing it, and everyone knew he was going to run it, but they are so lacking confidence in him that they didn't even back him up. And there was one point the commentators are going, there's no one backing him up. There's no one even fucking with him. So he's made this little short run. He had us on the back foot on the blind side, and no one went with him. And I'm going,
well, he just used to wrap around from the left to the right
all the time,
and he just get on the outside and then create the extra number, and they'd have other people wrapping around as well. Like the fullback would come with him. It's
really hard to judge them against us because we just suffocated them. We suffocated their whole team. We gave them no space at all.
It was like watching the Rumble in the Jungle. Joe, who was it? He just died. George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. They just punched themselves out after 10 minutes. They thought they had us on. They thought they had us on the ropes. They thought they were going to put on 1 or 2 or 3 tries, get a little break every time they scored. They thought they were going to do that.
Yeah.
I think their mindset was that. And
I still have them as minor premiers this year.
I believe they've got the balance in their top 30 to make the top 3.
I think they're minor premiers. Melbourne second, Bulldogs third, Panthers fourth.
I'm just seeing some really awful traits come into them because I thought they were a shoe-in for the top 2. The way they're playing and the way they'll, even the Penrith game when they got beat.
They just got to get.
I've just seen the last couple of weeks some really awful traits come in. And Nico never ever had not someone backing him up. He always had someone with him.
I'd say Fitz, you will address that. Yeah.
We didn't run. We ran them off their feet, 100%.
Yeah, but I was so fatigued. We just dominated them, and it makes me happy to say that because we've struggled against them in recent times.
That's 2 in a row. 2 in a row.
Unlucky to lose against the Raiders. So, yeah, they're not far away. They'll be on top. Don't you worry.
Well, I think we're on top, mate, and that's all that matters at the moment.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Look, guys, James just said see us to spend a lot of time on the plane while we put our feet up, so they've got a bit of a road trip this weekend. Timmy says Wilson's a good sort. Scotty says all good. Mark's my king, mate. After he gives me a few beers after the King's birthday win.
Don't you, mate? I'll hook you up for sure.
Who do we have for the wooden spoon, guys? We're going to wrap this up within 120 seconds because I'm getting tired.
Knights.
No way. No way, man. They're a tough team, dude.
No.
They're no way.
They on the weekend, but they got nothing. Beat the Knights.
No way.
Yep.
Brad, wooden spooners.
Roosters.
Let's go, Pete. What's the matter, Parramatta?
The Finns or Para?
The Finns?
Nah.
The Finns or Para?
Pete's had too many concussions.
South.
Come on, boys. Where'd you go?
You heard it here first.
Yeah, only Parramatta. All right, I'll say Parramatta.
I think any of those sides are a good chance of losing.
Parramatta doesn't matter.
Scotty says Hines is a better fullback. Scotty says Para. Michael says the Knights. Oh, he says whatever Mark says now.
Don't you worry.
Mark, is Mike your son and he's sitting there beside you on the laptop bloody feeding you information?
Adopt Mike. He'll be part of the family by tomorrow.
He's already part of the family, I reckon. Line him up one of those daughters of yours, mate.
Yeah, I've got plenty to choose from, Mike. What age you looking for, brother?
All right, guys. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thanks for everyone who joined in and had a chat. I'll do some more videos this week because I'm just striving for Bulldogs. Love the dogs. We'll talk about fucking head knocks again. Can't wait. All right, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the invite.
Night, boys.
Thanks for the invite.
Cheers.
Dave,
Thanks for the dogs,
Love
guys.
you, dogs.
I'll see you
I'll end the
hours.
stream. We'll say goodbye to each other privately. See you, everyone.